I was on one yesterday, by the way.
Everyone, yeah, I think I was too, but I related mine to being, I got sick over the weekend. I got the July cold.
Yes.
So it was just like hanging around in my head. I'm like, I'm offering no creative insight for anyone today.
But there's so much that we always talk about this all the time. There's so much that goes into creative.
Yeah.
And it's so affected by the environment, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm not a zodiac or an astrology girly, but this...
The moon.
Well, the moon, one. Did you see the moon last night?
You mean your picture of the sun? Yeah.
Great. I think that's the sun. I think I know the difference between the moon and the sun. Well, these days I don't. Okay, but the moon, we've got a super moon going on. Mm-hmm. Plus, we're entering this new phase of, I don't know what, but I heard it on a podcast, new change. So a lot of changes are happening. Mm-hmm. And I feel it. I do feel it.
Just got a stern look from Grasse.
Yeah, I bet her call went well. We will not disclose what call she was just on.
Oh, that's funny.
But do you feel it? Do you feel it?
No.
You don't?
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel it. I feel it.
I
felt sick.
Yeah, true.
But I do get what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I found in my purse when I was in there looking for my lipstick?
What?
The little crystal that we bought like a year ago. Well, it was more than a year ago.
With
yes.
Heather Rowe. Yeah. That can lead to this change thing too. Because I have been feeling change the past, like, this whole year. I've been like, I'm waiting for it. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what I want from it.
I know.
But I'm like trying to figure it out.
Manifest.
Yeah.
Because it is going to change. And I think if you lean into it, only for the best. The only good things will happen.
If you
don't fear it, right?
Right.
Don't fear things around here.
You'll always grow from it.
That's right.
Even if you do.
Look at it as an opportunity.
100%.
We are so quotable.
We're so insightful.
If you're looking for, a quote for your headstone.
Just put this on a loop. Oh, yeah, a little inspiration for
your away message on your MSN Messenger.
Yeah.
Come here.
I
will hook you up.
saw a reel one time, like this weekend, and it was Gen Zers out of office voice. And I was cackling. It was so funny.
They're so funny.
They're like, don't want to hear from you anyway.
Yeah, they're so honest. They're so brutally honest. I wish that I had just an ounce of that.
I know.
Gall.
No fucks given.
Yeah, zero. They don't care. They're going to clearly. No, they don't.
No, I don't care how you feel because of what I say.
No, like your reaction to what I say is none of my business.
Right, that's your problem.
Yeah, not mine.
That's called a boundary.
True.
Do you ever feel like you just say the word boundary and it's like...
Boundaries are new to me because I'm a millennial. I was raised in the 90s. Like, no.
But do you think it's like a scapegoat for...
Yes.
Like, I'm setting this boundary and I don't like it when you do that. And it's like, I'm supposed to respect you now because you said the word boundary?
Exactly. All these made up rules. Okay, so more people than ever, and I think it's great, are in therapy now.
Right.
But they are taking that language they use from their therapist and inserting it to make people behave the way that they want them to. And I'm like, excuse me, you're not the one that gets to, you can't set boundaries to make people control. Yeah, no, exactly.
Like other words that are...
Gaslighter.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of. It's so overused now.
Narcissist.
Like, do we even know what the definition is? Do we even know?
It's been so changed and just formed to what we want it to be.
Right, in that moment.
Yeah, same with boundaries.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Change. Speaking of change.
Nice.
Speaking of change. Twitter is now X. Although, I don't know, maybe I'm the last one on the planet whose Twitter is still Twitter and not
on
X.
your phone.
On my phone, yeah. But I also probably have 83 apps I need to update. So
you don't have that on automatic?
No.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I checked. I don't have it on my phone because...
Good for you.
I deleted that like way back in college.
Oh, like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, but I did check it on the internet because I go on there on the internet, and it was all updated. It had the X logo, and the blue was...
What do you think about it? What do you think about... We talk about rebrands a lot. We talk about rebranding, the process of rebranding. What do you think about this, in your own opinion, as a marketer? What are your thoughts?
I just have questions.
Yeah, what are those questions?
I want to know the meaning behind X. Like, what is the intent with naming it X? Also, where does the word tweet go? Do you say, I X'd that instead of I tweeted that? Like, what is this language that we're now using?
Well, those are all great questions. Our next guest, Elon Musk. Welcome.
We'd like to know. Welcome, Elon.
I don't even know where I'd begin with the conversation with that man. But, I mean, he's the same guy that named his children.
That's true.
You know, a bunch of...
Yeah, what did he name his kids? How many kids does he have?
I think a couple. I'm not sure.
Is he the one that wants to, like, populate the earth a lot?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
He and Nick Cannon, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Well, I think there's different intentions.
No, I think they're pretty much the same.
You think so?
Yeah.
I thought Elon wants to because he thinks, like, more people, the better or something. I don't know.
I
think maybe Nick Cannon's just trying to get it. Did you hear it? Okay, do you watch Selling Sunset?
I have. I'm not caught up.
So one of his baby mamas is on
Bree.
it. Yeah. And they started talking about if he gets to, like, a certain number of kids, he's at, like, 8 or something, he doesn't have to pay child support anymore.
Yes.
I think it's, like, if he gets to 10, he doesn't have to pay child support
that could be
anymore.
its own podcast. Oh, my God.
So
anyway.
he wants to populate the earth to save some money, and Elon wants to do it for, I don't know.
What his purposes are. Yeah.
You can Google it. I'm sure there's articles about it
Yeah,
out there.
Google it. We can't spend too much more time talking about him, but we will talk about his brand. I agree. I have the same questions. I don't think it was very well done. I think it wasn't seamless. It wasn't, you know, like, you have it, I don't. Even at some points of the transformation, there was, like, a Twitter logo here, an X logo here, a
Brandon
tweet thing
had
down
that.
here.
Yeah.
It was very mixed and matched. I don't think if it were my business, my brand, and I know you can't, like, roll it out once. We always talk about our example around here, Casey's. You know, we have a new Casey's here and old Casey's there. But you can at least have a thought or a vision or a process to roll it out. And I just think his maybe was rushed because he seems to make a lot of decisions. Like, I feel like this conversation just happened a couple weeks ago. Like, I'm going to name it X, and then now it is X. You know, so just the PR around all of it. It just seemed
because I
rushed
think
to
I
me.
was, like, at the lake a couple weeks ago, and Maddie's like, "Did you hear they're changing Twitter to X?" And then it was last week when I looked that it did on my desktop. It was just changed to X.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I want to know, like, what the name means, why he decided to do it. Is it a power move? Like, I own this now.
Probably, which you kind of have to respect him a little bit. Like, he definitely...
Yeah.
He made the headlines. That's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
So from a
that's
marketer,
true.
I'm kind of like, yikes, it was done poorly. But then on the other side, I'm like, as a marketer, you did exactly what you wanted to do. So
is a part of you sad at all? Because the Twitter brand is...
No, I think it'll always kind of be Twitter. I don't think anyone will call it X. I think it's going to be...
Not right now,
Twitter.
Anyway.
And yeah.
Yeah, what do you say? Did you see my ex?
Well...
Did you see that ex over the weekend? What, your ex or my ex?
There were a lot of, I hope I didn't see any X's. I saw something and it was like, Zeet. They said, we're going to have to defer to Lil John for this one. Because.
We need some help figure this out.
So anyways.
Okay.
Yeah. Zeet, mother. Anyway. The next big thing.
Yes.
And actually, this is a great segue because I think, again, Elon may be an extraterrestrial.
He knows about the stuff going on.
Yeah, I'm not fully convinced that he's 100% human. Aliens apparently exist.
But don't you think we always knew that?
Yeah, we did. But it has been confirmed by our government. The U.S. government has confirmed we have made contact with them. We have their spacecraft. We even have biologics of the pilots of the...
That is
yes,
so
I have
wild.
always assumed.
Again, back to so many questions.
Okay, go.
How many aliens are on the spacecraft? What were they wanting? Why is there some deals going on?
I think they want the same thing we want from them. So if we have some DNA or whatever you'd call it of them. That's what you always hear about. That's what you always hear about in all the stories. They took me to their spacecraft. Right. They put this thing in my belly button. Like, I really think they just want information about us.
So are they ahead of us technologically?
Light years.
That was funny.
Thank you.
So I took, I don't know if you know this about me. Back in my time at Iowa as a freshman, you know, to get a bachelor's, you do need science credits.
All right.
Science is obviously, probably, as you can assume, not my strong suit.
Okay.
So I took one semester stars, solar system, and the galaxy.
Wow.
These
and you're not into astrology? Get out of here.
These are the two classes that dropped my GPA because I just could not figure it out.
But as a college freshman, you're taking these?
Yeah, I wanted to get my science out of the way.
Yeah.
So I took that and then like astronomy 101 or something silly. Anyway, one of my professors in one of those classes, he was just telling us, and I've always just assumed it was correct because, you know, it's your professor.
Yeah.
It's like, there is literally no way we are the only human life form in the universe.
Yeah.
All those stars are another one of,
I know.
There's like so many chances for it to line up just like it has with us.
This isn't helping my existential crisis that I have been having. I'm on day 2 of.
I'm on continuing it on to Tuesday.
14 of. Yeah, I know. It's stressful, but we're clearly not. I mean, maybe we are. I think there's a lot that they're not telling us. Yeah, this is a conspiracy theory podcast now. But, I mean, yeah.
Are we the first other life form that these aliens have
Hell no. I bet they are just like making the rounds. And we are the trashy side of town. We are the bad. We are on the wrong side of the tracks. They're like, oh,
don't go over there.
They're like, we got to make our newspaper round. They hate coming to our neighborhood because we're a freaking disaster.
How often do you think they come?
I don't know. I think they're living here. I think they're here. In fact,
living amongst us?
Yeah.
What do you think they look like?
The guy that was at the Senate hearing, I mean, he looks like an alien. I'm like, you look like an alien.
I guess you think Elon is too.
Yeah. The thing about it is,
isn't he the one taking people to space too?
Yeah.
No wonder.
Yeah. I mean, I use his internet at my house, and it's pretty good.
Yeah? I mean, yeah.
Have you had any issues with me since my connectivity has been rock solid.
Yesterday was a little touch and go. Yeah, there were some times on our Monday meeting you were just like,
oh, I was probably just staring into space because, as I've said, I am on month 14 of my existential crisis. Sometimes I just stare out the window.
Maybe you're next. Maybe they're wanting you to go into the universe. I
don't think they want any of this.
They're like, we're going to do a tradesy. You get one of these aliens, you get Mackenzie.
Oh, I feel bad for them. They are getting
they're going to learn so much.
The short end of the stick. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. What do you think that they think of us? What do you think?
I can only assume based on like stories you're told growing up that we're behind them. Like they are, as you said, light years ahead of us.
Yeah.
Intelligence wise, technological wise.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I bet they learned from their mistakes. I bet they wouldn't bring back low-rise jeans.
No.
No. I think they learned. They tried that once. They thought, nah.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
Do you think they only have 2 legs and 2 arms? How many eyes do they?
All the accounts of like the firsthand accounts that you hear, they're tall, they're skinny, they do have the big eyes. I think some of the stuff that we see,
some of that it's pulled from something.
Real. Yeah, it has to come from somewhere, doesn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Or are these all, I don't know.
Or is it all bullshit?
Right.
And are they trying to leverage something? Are they trying to distract us from God knows the other issues that we have?
True. Not to get to conspiracy again, but I keep bringing up the American Horror Story.
Yes.
That last season I watched, God, I wish I could remember. But they kind of talked about aliens.
Yeah.
And these ideas about aliens, they had to come from somewhere. They were positioning it in the aliens. The government knew about the aliens, and they were like wanting America or the world, Earth, to do something in return for information about the aliens. So like JFK's assassination, it's because it was an alien thing. Even with Marilyn Monroe, that's how they found him.
Seriously, I think everyone knows someone that has a little bit of a extraterrestrial story. I have one. I won't tell it right now, but I do have one.
I don't have one.
Someone you know does. I mean, I didn't have an experience.
Yeah, so I know a story through someone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, okay.
Well, government, if you're listening,
Don't. Leave us alone. Don't.
Mackenzie's ready for takeoff.
No, this is why I'm living off the grid now.
Oh, right. Even though you have Elon's internet.
Yeah, I mean, he knows where I'm at, but he won't tell.
He's going to track you down.
He won't tell. Oh my gosh.
You're going to have like a light beam from your house.
Yeah. Okay. So we think we have an idea of what aliens would think of us. What do we think that our January version of us, would think about our August version of us?
Oh gosh. My mind just goes to, it's so crazy how much can change in that amount of time, you know?
I know. And that's not a long amount of time.
No, it's not. I mean, that was just what? It's August 1st. That's month 8.
8.
July 7.
Yeah.
That was just 8 months ago.
I know.
And so much has changed.
So much has changed.
I think January us would be proud that we are sitting here in these chairs.
Absolutely.
Doing the dang thing.
Yes, because we were chomping at the bit. Remember, we were doing our own brand workshop. I was thinking back this morning, I was driving in, and I was like, wow, that does not feel like that long ago. It also feels like 100 years ago. But yeah, we were trying to do our brand workshop. We were trying to plan. We were trying to strategize. I had my whole entire family, remember, was sick with influenza A. Yeah. And so I couldn't even be a part of a lot of these big conversations, and that sucked. But I agree. We persevered, and we did. We launched this baby in February.
Yep. Like the 7th.
Yeah.
I just see a visual.
I know. We're still sitting here, so I agree. I think we'd be proud. And it's just a good reminder that mid-year, yes, this is a little past mid-year, but this is a great time to check in with where you thought you'd be at the beginning of the year. Otherwise, you're going to get to the end of the year. It's like, I always compare it to, you know, if you have a boss and you have that big yearly annual review, you hope to God that your boss will address any issues that you have before that meeting.
Right, so you can prepare.
So you can prepare or like realign until you get to that meeting. So that's kind of what you want to do with your marketing goals too. You don't want to come to the end of the year and be like, oh shit, we're way off, when you could have been trying to, you know, make tweaks to get back on track the entire year.
We're going to go through a few ways that you can check in with your marketing strategy, and some questions to think about, tweaks you could make, ways to make it better, or things you might even need to get rid of if it's not serving your overall goal.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, just a few things to check in with, very tangible. You can go do this as soon as you get done listening.
Right. So let's start with content performance.
We don't talk about content ever.
No, it's not the driving force of anything that we do around here. Beside the point, it's actually what we love to do around here. But we want to make sure the content that we are creating and spending so much time doing is performing in the way that we need it to. So we like to do this in a few ways. From the social side, I track each piece of content that we put out on each platform. And so like I'll keep track of likes, views, shares, comments, all that jazz, because that's essentially what's going to tell us what's performing, what people want to see more of, and what they're not, what they don't want to see more of. But also, like, I encourage this time too, if you haven't done that yet, just like kind of go back to the last quarter and review it all, and the numbers will tell you a lot. That's one of my favorite things, honestly, to do, is to look at the numbers and see what's resonating with people. Like, even if we were to go back on this podcast, like, I think our most downloaded episode right now, people love the Cta GPT series. Like,
they do.
We got so much response from that. But the 4 ways, the 4 digital campaign ones.
Yeah.
That one is our tried and true one that people really love. So like now we know when we get on here, talk about digital campaigns, because people want to hear more about that.
Yes. Use the data to your advantage. You can see it. You can see those trends, what worked, what didn't. And I know you'll get into it, but use it to your advantage. That's what it's there for.
Right. So like also during this time, as you're looking back at the analytics and seeing what worked and what didn't, like also don't be afraid to test content too, especially even if as simple as what time of day to post at. So to test what time works best to post on, let's say Instagram, post for 5 days in a row at the same time. We recommend a month just to get more data collected and see what time works Then the next month, switch it up, compare those 2 months worth of data or that week worth of data, just so you see when your audience is most active online.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, you'll want it to be instantaneous, but a lot of this, you do have to start getting into a rhythm. It takes time. It is all about the long game with content. People want to go, I mean, it's all about viral content. I want to go back. Sorry, but even the most viral content maybe has been out there for a while, and it takes time to get that rhythm. And we've always talked about the algorithm. You walked us through how to make the algorithm your friend, or what the algorithm?
How to beat the algorithm.
How to beat the algorithm. But yeah, it's not instantaneous. You have to put the work in, and you have to be consistent with it, which is something else we are always preaching. You can't just post once a week and think, oh,
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
Even we've talked about this before, where people get stuck on ideas. Go back once you, like, we just track all of our stats in a spreadsheet at the moment, but go back and see what worked well and see what didn't, and what worked well, recreate that in a new way that your audience can engage with, or present it in a new way that hasn't been presented anymore. Like, you can still, like we've always talked about, social media, it's like a 48-hour thing before it's dead. So you can always rework the content that works well in a different way, so your audience will re-engage with it.
Exactly. Yep.
I think that's kind of it on.
Yeah, and also lean into those tools. So you are posting on these platforms. Those platforms are getting so, like Facebook, Instagram, the meta side. There's so many tools for your advantage. So it will tell you when your page is receiving the most views, or, you know, when you have the most traffic. Use those to your advantage as well. Layer that on top of, you know, what works well, what doesn't, and make decisions based on, again, all those tools and all that analytics and data at your fingertips. That's what it's there for. It's not just like, oh, that's interesting. No, that is a tool for you to use to your advantage. So make sure that you are spending time exploring that. That's not the fun side for some people of the social media app, but it is the most useful for what you want to do. So
for sure, you're able to analyze, like, okay, do people like it when we post at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m.? Do they like my reels with the voiceover over them, or do they like the more trendy, short, to the point type of thing? And what length of caption do I need to get the most comments, kind of thing? So those are just some things that you can begin to look at and analyze when you're laying out your analytics, because we track day, time, type of content, what the caption was, so you can see the length of it. And even aligning it with your audience. So there's demographics in there. There's, you know, age, gender, things like that. You know your target audience, or hopefully that you do. And if you're building on that, is it aligning with who's seeing it? If it's not, make those tweaks that shall be mentioned. Yeah, I love it. Love it, love it. Okay, the second one, this is a big one, sales check-in. So it's funny, marketers versus sales, you know, you always see a lot of that stuff. You're on the same team. You're on the same team. It is the conversation. It's the chicken or the egg. Can you have sales without marketing? Can you have marketing without sales? You cannot have. It's like out there. Align. Yes, they have to align. You are on the same team. You need to be rowing in the same direction. If not, if your salespeople are out there selling something that your marketing team has no knowledge of, you're screwed, and vice versa. So this is a great opportunity to sit down with your sales team, discuss, okay, what were those goals at the beginning of the year? Are we still hitting those goals? Are we on track for those goals? If we're not, how can we make those changes? And just have that conversation and ask questions. It's not you versus them. It might feel like that on the outside. You know that in our organization, we're obviously so close that those are some of the most interesting conversations that when we get to put a plan together with the sales team. And it's constant, and it should always be constant. But we follow Marketing Millennials on Instagram. So if you guys don't follow them, they're funny. But he always posts memes about how, like, the sales team is always getting all the glory. Like, yes, I made the deal. And they're like shaking hands with the client. There's like the little marketer down there, like exhausted and worn out on the model. So like we feel the pain, but like we say, that relationship and that sale is not going to happen unless you guys are aligned and you ask the tough questions. So first and foremost, how are we doing on our sales goals at the beginning? And then you obviously are going to refine your questions from there. What are the top reasons people aren't buying from us?
the salespeople, they are typically the ones out there having the face-to-face conversations. They are having those difficult conversations.
Yeah.
And
They're interacting with like a warm lead that wants to work with you, you know?
Right. So mine that information from them. Have them also ask the questions, why, if we lost the sale, why? Then we can turn that into content to promote that service or that product from within.
And just answer any of those objections that people might have when wanting to work with you when they're doing their research on you from the outside.
Exactly. Answer the question before they can even ask
Right.
it. Exactly. What common questions do people have about your products or services? Put together those FAQs. Again, create beautiful, beautiful content out of that. Answer those questions. So people come to your website. They don't have to look around. It's right there for them.
Yeah, even back to like our digital campaign conversation, how people like love that on here. Same when we have those conversations with Melanie too, people are like, they love the digital campaign side of things. They didn't know that we did that. It's like, okay, we need to share about that more kind of thing. So it's just some good insight when you're creating your strategy.
Exactly. And how are people finding us? Okay. Are they coming through our website organically? Are they seeing us out on social media? Did they actually see one of our digital campaigns? If so, yay, our money is working for us. There's a lot that goes into that, and then just double down on how they are finding us, because then you can create entry points for people to come in and you can start those conversations. You can make it a welcoming,
environment.
Remember, last night, speaking of email marketing, last night I was really trying to come up with a word and I couldn't, and Shelby jumped right into our email chain and solved it. So she's good at this or something. But yeah, double down on those opportunities because you know that they're there because your salespeople are having those conversations.
Yeah.
So just keep that conversation, that line of communication open with your sales team. You're not on different teams. You're on the same team. If you win, they win, and vice versa. The whole organization wins. So
yeah. Use the mid-year as a good like catch up, like a refresh, like just check in. I was going to say one more thing along with that, but it escaped my mind.
the aliens
like most
took
things
it.
too. Oh, I was also going to say the aliens took it. But it's also a good opportunity to find any gaps, even in their sales strategy or in your marketing strategy, things that are missing, things that are, like we talked about, things that aren't being talked about, sort of thing. So you can fill in those gaps from an outside perspective.
Definitely. Yes. Okay, digital campaign performance. So we're obviously, anytime we're running a digital campaign, we are on it and we are checking it daily. But if you're running a 12-month campaign, or even if you're not, that 6-month mark, that halfway point is a great opportunity to just really deep dive into that digital campaign and check out the performance, check out the content. How are people responding? Is it working? Is it not? So just going to go through some bullet points for things to check in on to make sure you're spending the money.
Right, that's the biggest point.
You need some ROI on this. You want this to work. I mean, ultimately, you want to hit the goals that you set out to hit.
And it's okay if the initial piece of content or your initial strategy is not what's working at the moment. That's what the check-ins are for, and why we watch the numbers and analyze the numbers. Because we're just trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure out what the audience that we're trying to reach, and it's okay to make those adjustments.
Yes, this is all fluid. If we set something, like set it and forget it, and we just expected it to work, then we're not doing our jobs very well. That's what also makes my brain really get excited, because it's like, okay, I see opportunity here to make a tweak. What tweak is it? You're playing chess, not checkers. You are really being strategic in what you're doing. And if you pull this lever, then, something great could happen over here. So yeah, that's a great point. Don't feel bad if it's not working. It's another opportunity to just make a tweak, and it could be better than what you even had in mind in the beginning.
Yeah, even if it's something you've always done and it's always worked in the past, just don't be afraid to try something new just because it's the way it was always been done.
Exactly.
I know it's so easy as humans. We can get
complacent.
Humans and aliens. We can get stuck in our patterns and our rhythm of doing things just because it's the way we've always done them. But again, it's another challenge that we're putting on you to maybe try to mix it up and think outside the box and look for those ways that you could make it more effective.
Definitely. So say your campaign's not quite living up to where you want it to be. You could update the landing page copy. Maybe it's getting a little stale. Just look at it from a different perspective. Again, use our whole series that we just finished up. Bring in some Chat GPT on that. Run your current copy past another set of eyes or through ChatGPT. Just tweak it a little bit and make sure, the messaging there is very clear and concise in telling your audience what you want them to do.
Yeah, I think of a project in particular, even like we get our other teams involved too. And I caught a glimpse of a landing page that we had up for a client. And I'm like, oh, I would like, from my perspective, I'm just viewing this for the first time because like people, if you're in the project, you're looking at it constantly and daily. From a fresh set of eyes, like, oh, I would move that copy here and do this over here. So yeah, get other people involved and see if they say anything that needs to be updated.
Exactly. Create more organic content on your social platforms to support the message that you're paying for. It's never going to hurt to just like layer on tactics to make sure that you're reinforcing that same message with organic content. It's free.
Absolutely.
So just reinforcing that message, switch out the content, say, okay, this content's actually it's just kind of like the copy. It's not performing the way that I want it to. No harm in trying to switch it out, or like you were talking about social, A/B test it. See which one's going to perform better. That is the best way to know what your audience is responding to, liking, disliking, and then you can make that change, pull it out completely.
Yeah, we had one we were running for someone and we A/B tested it, and like the first week one was performing really well and the other one was just like not living. I'm like, oh, we might have to like change out that content for that B test. But then we looked the next week or a couple weeks later and they totally like they flipped, and I was like, whoa, that one was not doing well and now it's doing really well. So always, again, we're tracking it all the time, but some content might even surprise you. Like we said, we talked about it in ChatGPT where I was like, I tried this AI visual ad creation and I was like, this is ugly. Like I would not want to put money behind that. But then you have to think like, well, maybe they have a point, and like they're like, people do want to see that.
It was very clear, basic, to the point, and it definitely was. I guess it said what we did. I don't know.
I guess it did.
It would have killed the creative in me to see that outperform something that we
perfectionist in me. I would have been like, no, not on my watch.
I know. But again, rely on those analytics to tell you. Sometimes the truth hurts. Yeah, the truth does hurt.
Yeah, but you get confidence in your content.
Absolutely.
That way, if that makes sense. Like I know my analytics so well. Like I can know what time to post, what type of content's going to perform well, what we should be talking about, and I have confidence when I post that piece of content that it's going to succeed.
Yeah, and for us, using that confidence when we're talking to or onboarding a client, like this is our strategy that we're proposing. Well, why? I don't think actually yes, and here is why. Yeah, you can back it up. Exactly. So I love that. You can always add a discount or a freebie to sweeten the deal. So we just did this last week with the ChatGPT freebie that we handed. We love to do that, and that's not to trick you into anything. We're giving you resources so you can build that trust with us, and you can have that. You can go use that in your daily life, whether or not you ever work with us one day in your life. Yeah, you can use that, and that's.
Yeah, it was created solely as like a thank you for the people that did tune in, and it was a wild ride. Yeah, we wanted to be able to provide that resource for you guys as a thank you for tuning in and listening to us two yahoos.
Yeah,
us two aliens.
Us two aliens. Extra. We are pretty extra.
Are we?
You can update the photos or videos, and that can be whether or not in your campaign or on your landing page. Yeah. Just kind of update the entire thing if you feel like it is needed. Mm-hmm. Update the CTA to be clearer or more concise. We actually did this on one of our own campaigns. It was one of our like clever ones, and we were kind of like using some fluffy language, and we're like, oh wait, will people actually understand what we want them to do? We decided no, that they wouldn't, and we made it just clear and to the point, and the campaign completely took off after that. Yeah,
it was even like a disconnect between the landing page and the ad itself. They weren't cohesive in that realm as well. So making sure that those are talking to each other too. Yeah, we did. We completely updated the hook and the CTA just so it aligned more with the landing page that we created.
Yep. And then try different platforms or strategies. If you think that that's something, add a tactic in, remove a tactic. There's no shame in doing that. Mm-hmm. And then I would just say to end that, go through the process as you would be I worded that weird. take the customer journey that you would want your customers to take. So go through the entire process. So like you were just talking, does the ad make sense with the landing page? Go through it yourself, because if you are making a tweak, it could change, the whole experience. So make sure then once you have made those updates, if you're going to go through the entire thing, to make sure the whole thing is cohesive and clean and everything's talking to each other.
Yeah. And ultimately aligning with the goals, if it still aligns with the goals.
Right.
That you had it set out to the beginning. Have those goals shifted even? Like, is this even relevant in your marketing strategy anymore? Right. Just check in and tap in with that internally as well.
Exactly.
Another one we wanted to touch on was customer satisfaction. And this is a really simple one. You can do it kind of effortlessly, yes. We could say. A couple ways we encourage you to do this is either set out a poll on your Instagram, as those are the people who are engaging with your content. See what they're liking, not liking. Do they like long form, short form, long captions, short captions? Do they like trendy stuff? Do they like to be educated or entertained? All those things, they'll give you direct real-time feedback. And it's also engagement on your social page too.
It is. And as marketers, we get the fun job of getting to interact with our customers through those fun ways, through social media. And, we just talked about sales. They're the people that sometimes have to have those difficult conversations. You don't through this. This is an opportunity to make your product better. Ask about not only your product, your services, your customer service. Ask about everything, so you hold everyone in your organization accountable, or you can make a change anywhere it needs to be. But I think, I love the customer satisfaction side on marketing. I think it's just, we sit in a unique seat to be able to have those fun, cool conversations that teach us so much about what we're offering. Again,
and it gives you confidence in what you're talking about
Absolutely.
too. Even if you were to put some money behind an ad, like, your audience so well that that what I'm about to put out is my ROI is going to be there, and it's going to be tenfold,
Yeah.
And then another way we also like to do this, just send them an email or directly. I know, especially like if you wrap up a project or they bought something from you, just be like, hey, how was your experience? How would you improve it? Was there anything missing? Is there anything you would want from us in the future, kind of thing? Just to keep that relationship alive and thriving too.
Yeah.
And it gives you insight. And it's also a great opportunity to like ask for a testimonial, so you can use that as content moving forward too. Like, we would also like a quick little blur, like nothing annoying, it's just a quick little check-in and just getting some feedback to make what you're doing better.
Yeah, that's a great point. It is such a good, because again, marketing, yes, we have our analytics, but when you wrap up a project and maybe you nailed it, but what if one single small thing of that process for the customer didn't knock it out of the park? You need to know that, so the next time it can be better, or you can fix it internally to make the next one better. But
and also that's a good point though, to like reflect, not just ask for customer feedback, but like take time to reflect on yourself, like what went well during that process, what didn't work well, how would I rank it, what could I improve on, what could I take out? You're always talking about slimming, trimming the fat of the process, like what can we take out that wasn't effective or didn't work? So it's a good time to reflect too, on yourself for different projects you embark on.
For sure. And then our last one is just that big idea, future goal planning. So at the beginning of the year, when we were goal planning and we were talking about what we wanted to do this year, that's such a fun time. Yeah. Because the world is your oyster. It's a blank canvas. Yes, you're building upon goals that you had last year, but it's just such a moment of opportunity. It does. It makes me so excited. And so hopefully you are spending time and writing down some of those big ideas that you had. I know one of our big ideas, and we talked about at the top, was this podcast. And so, no brag, but check. We checked it off. But always making opportunities for those big conversations. And this is going to be scalable depending on, who you are and what you do. But that big step could be something as small as starting an Instagram page,
And I think a lot of times, especially at the beginning of the year, like people are throwing out tons of ideas, and a lot of them can just feel like they never got heard or touched. Yeah. So it's a good time to check in and be like, okay, that one you said in January, I actually do want to start taking action on that. And it's never too late to start taking action. So like set yourself up, like, okay, give yourself a deadline. I want, like, even with the podcast.
Deadline is huge. You're never going to do it if you don't.
Right. With the podcast we had, I want this done by this date, February 7th. And then from that, you like take 3 major things that you have to accomplish, and we kind of break it up into like one for each month. And then from those big goals for each month, you break down all the tasks that you need to get there. Like for setting up a podcast, it's like, okay, we need a logo, we need a brand guide, like we need to create the dang thing. What are we going to talk about? Who are we going to reach? How is the content going to look? What's the setup? So you have all these tasks under each goal, and then break those tasks into each week, you know, so it's more digestible and manageable, and it doesn't seem so overwhelming to take on creating a podcast, you know?
Yes, I know, because those big, what do we call them? Big, hairy, audacious goals, they can seem like the monster in the room. It's like, little old me, I cannot attack that. But if you dissect it and break it down and give, delegate, make sure that you are all, again, rowing in the same direction, you will have it mastered. You will have it accomplished, and you'll be so proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Because work is not just work. Like, yes, you go to work and there are things you have to do. What about those things that you want to do? What are those things that light that fire, re-engage that passion? Make sure you're taking time for those. Yeah. Those big fun ideas.
Yeah. My mind even goes to like the ABM thing that you've been wanting to implement here. Like, I get so overwhelmed when you talk about that. Like, I'm guilty of this. I'm like, what, ABM? And then just like starting to have a conversation and seeing where people are at, and like giving tasks to different people, then it starts to be like, okay, it's not as crazy as we once thought it was. It's not just
on my plate.
Yeah.
I'm sharing this. This is buffet. Yeah. And I'm sharing it with other people. Yeah, totally. And the brand workshop, re-gearing their brand workshop for us. I was talking to Grace about that earlier in our one-on-one. Remember when we were like, okay, we're going to do this? And then we took steps to do it. And we did have to go through many, many, many meetings. We even went through revisions of the workshop itself. It was hard-ass work. But I'm so proud of how it looks in these past experiences we've had with them this year. Oh, it's just something to really feel proud of. Yeah, and it just goes to show, like, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. No. And there should be no expectation for it to. No. So give yourself that grace, like, okay, this might actually take us, we have this idea. It might take us a whole quarter to hammer it out and figure it out. But as long as you have those tasks and what needs to be done on certain days done, it should be tangible so you can accomplish and start moving forward with it in the next quarter. Exactly. You know? That's the whole reason for this conversation. This is a mid-year check-in. So, it's been half a year already. It flew. Well, we've been really, really working really hard. Make sure you do schedule these check-ins. If it's not at 6 months, maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's 2 weeks. Right. It's maybe never too late. No, it's never too late. Just check in. Because you will thank yourself later at the end of the year, and you're like, I'm really glad that I made those tweaks, or I made those changes, or I just spent a minute to look at how far we've come since January. It's just, it feels good, and you should be proud of all the work you're doing, because you're working your ass off. We see it. You're working your ass off out there. Working your ass off out there. Do you have any country AF sayings for that one? Oh my Working your ass off. You put me on the spot. I know, I'm so sorry. Check back to the Instagram. I'm sure I'll think of something. Something clever. If I was working any harder, I'd be, no. I better not. Oh, okay. I'll take you on the spotlight. Well, that feels good. Yeah, that was fun. I liked that one. Well, this was fun. I think it's appropriate. We're checking in ourselves on the podcast. Got to check yourself sometimes. You don't want to get high on your own supply. There's the saying I was looking for. There it is. I think that's the most dangerous drug you can do, is just getting high on your own supply. All right. Well, if you appreciated this, if you enjoyed this as much as we did, give us a little review. Yeah, we'd love a review on Apple Podcasts, a 5-star one. In fact, no less than 5 stars. You've got 5 fingers, so just give it 5. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you can just leave us an emoji if you want, some suggestions. Check in with us. Tell us, hey. Positive reinforcement. Yes, that too. We always love that. You girls could get rid of this and add this. Less alien talk, more digital marketing talk. We get it. I can't promise that I'll ever stop talking about aliens. Because they're alive and well. They're here. Unlike ourselves. Yeah. I'm kidding. I'm alive. She's kidding. It's the stars. It's that super moon. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Bing Bang Download. We love it. Yeah, and we'll see you back next time. All right. Bye.